Chapter 5. One Bad Apple. "Wait!" Robbie held up his hand to hold Doug back. They watched from the back window of the bus until Bo went inside the school building. "Okay," Robbie said. "Coast clear." Robbie and Doug hurried down the steps of the bus and into the building. "Don't get Bo mad at you again," said Doug. "Whatever you do, stay away from him." "I will," said Robbie. "Believe me, I will." Robbie looked both ways down the hall. No sign of Bo. Maybe it would be easier to avoid him. "Come on," he said to Doug. They hurried to the third grade rooms. They would look at the names beside the doors to see which teacher they got this year. Robbie hoped that he would get Miss Williams. She was the nicest teacher in third grade. She had a popcorn party in her room every Friday, and she never gave homework. They stopped in front of Miss Williams's door first and looked at the names printed on the apples taped to the bulletin board. Doug began to call out the names of the kids who would be in Miss Williams' class. Sue Adams, Letitia Baker, Doug Daniels. "I got her," said Doug, pointing to his name on an apple. "I got her." Robbie crossed his fingers for luck and looked at the rest of the apples. "Please let me get Mrs. Williams," he prayed silently as he scanned the apples. "Please let me get Mrs. Williams." "Here's Matt Jones," said Doug, reading off the names. "And Pat Guttrell, and Bo Haney." "Bo Haney?" Doug and Robbie exchanged looks. Oh no, Bo had gotten Mrs. Williams. Now, Robbie didn't want Mrs. Williams. He didn't want to be anywhere near Bo Haney this year. His prayer changed. Now, he didn't want to see his name on the apples. "Please don't let me get Miss Williams. Please don't let me get Miss Williams." Justin Lewis, Scott Nelson, "Robbie York," Doug yelled. "Right here." He pointed to an apple in the corner of the bulletin board. "You got her too," said Doug. "Come on, let's get seats together." "Bo's in there," said Robbie. "I don't want to go in." "Aw," said Doug. "He's already forgotten about the bus. He won't even remember you." Robbie swallowed. "I hope you're right," he said. Slowly, he followed Doug through the door and into the classroom. So, how do you think Robbie is feeling right now? Turn and share with your learning coach how you think he's feeling. And then go ahead and jot this into your reading journal. "Hey, it's Robbie!" shouted a familiar voice as Robbie made his way back to an empty seat. Bo had not forgotten. "Yoo-hoo, Robbie!" Robbie opened his backpack and took out his school supplies. When he came to his notebook, he opened it and peeked at his list. "Psst! Hey, Robbie!" He heard Bo call him, but he didn't look up. Each time Bo called him Robbie, Robbie felt a little smaller. But what could he do about it? Last year, Mary Jacob said the Pledge of Allegiance during assembly. Her voice had been so high and squeaky. Bo had called her Squeaky for the rest of the year. The worst part was that soon all the other kids were calling her Squeaky too. Now she might just as well change her name to Squeaky, because that's what everyone called her. It happened to Al Burp McGuire too. He used to be Albert. And Katie Bernard, now she was Katie Barnyard. Last year the names had seemed funny to Robbie. Now that he was about to become Wobby, For the rest of his life, it didn't seem funny at all. When Bo changed your name, it stayed changed. He took out his pencil and marked through number 1 on his list. Get rid of the name Robbie. Beside it, he wrote, get rid of the name Wobby. It was going to be harder to be cool in 3rd grade than he had thought. That is the end of chapter 5.